I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
What's up, AfterBuzzers, and welcome to the Demon Slayer After Show. Today we're covering episodes 15, 16, and we have a special guest in the house. Whoop whoop! Welcome, Allegra Clark.
Hello.
What's up, Allegra?
Hi, guys. Super excited to be here. Oh, look, my cat did join.
There we go.
I told you he would.
Well, we love when pets join in on the stream, and we love that all of you are joining us in the stream. So if you're watching this, join us in the live chat, and if you're watching it later, no worries, comment down below. So before we really get started, we'll go around the panel and introduce everybody. My name is Kari Lane, joined by, we got Jaimi.
What's up, everybody? Good to be back.
And we got Veronica.
Hey, everyone.
And Ollie.
Hi, guys.
Yay. And then, as I said, Allegra. So Allegra voices a very fun character, which we'll get into that. Let's go over some initial first impressions. Now, we're only covering episodes 15, 16. Ollie, this was brand new for you. And then Jaimi and Veronica, we were catching up about to where you had left off before. So
these episodes. So this is now officially brand new for me.
Yes.
This is new for me as well now. Yeah.
Yay. All right, Jaimi, what did you think of these episodes?
Okay, so based off of last episodes, I was like, okay, I want to see like more, not even filler episodes, but just more intricate details about our characters. And I think, we're getting to know more about Zenitsu. He's just such a spazzy klutz that I adore it. Okay, he is interesting, but I think we're seeing a little bit more of his personality, how he kind of blushes or snorts out the smoke. And then we get the mother spider demon. I wasn't quite sure what to call your character, Allegra, because I was like, is it puppet master? Like, I wasn't quite sure, but then I was like, oh, it's mother spider demon, duh.
Yep.
But I thought that it was a dope character with a great power or technique. We'll get more into that because I have questions about that, but I thought it was really great episodes. I like seeing their backstory, and I'm excited to get more into it.
Yeah.
Nice. Veronica, what did you think of these episodes?
I mean, I agree. I really love these episodes. I think Innosuke, I think he's very interesting. I kind of really liked this idea of this theme of pride that they kind of brought up throughout this series of episodes and how it's tying into Inosuke's character. And it made me really think a lot about that. And we'll get into that. Kind of like Jaimi said, Zenitsu, he's a bucket of nerves, but I love him. And you know what? His nerves are understandable. It's a very scary situation to be in, but I really like, we're getting to explore our characters more. I like that we're exploring kind of like the dynamics within the demon worlds, kind of like, what their fears are. And we kind of get to see like how they were when they were human and kind of, their transition and how they are now. So very interesting. I liked these episodes.
Nice. Now, Ollie, I know you're also a fan of horror. So what did you think of these episodes and diving into this arc?
Well, first off, I have to say, Tanjiro, he's still best boy. I don't care. I said what I said. But I'm honestly falling in love with Innosuke. Like, I think Bryce is doing such an amazing job voicing him. Yeah. You see like the boar mask and like but yet the voice of Bryce is still so charismatic and there's so much emotion and I don't know, it's just brilliant. And I really love the character. Every time he's on screen, the way he's animated, you just fall in love with him. And I'm like, wow, I didn't think I would fall in love with this character so quickly. But on a sad note, I'm kind of bummed because some of these demons are so interesting. Like your character, Allegra, like I'm like, she's dead. And it's like 2 episodes. Come on. So it's like these cool, interesting demons that you get like a really good sense of like their backstory. Just like a quick little scene. You kind of wish as a viewer, at least for me, you kind of wish they would last a little bit longer to learn more about them. But we did learn about your character and her family, which we'll talk more about. But yeah, it's like some of these demons only last 2 episodes. And I'm like, damn, Tanjiro.
But you had to kill me. You had to kill me, man.
But yeah, still really great episodes.
Nice. Now, Allegra, we're going to get more in depth in your character as we go on, but how is it doing this kind of a rather complete arc for your character for these 2 episodes?
Well, it's interesting because the way that the episodes are divided when we record series is we record in chunks of 5. So technically speaking, I recorded episode 15 long before I got to episode 16, like a few weeks, I say long. So I go in, I wasn't sure how many episodes were in the sort of the volume is how we refer to it. So I wasn't sure if I was going to be going in for just the one session and done or whatever, but I went in and I realized I was scheduled for 15 minutes. And I was like, I thought I had a little bit more than that. Like, I shouldn't be able to wrap in 15 minutes. That's a lot for 15 minutes. They're like, no, you just have 4 lines at the end of episode 15. And I was like, oh, okay. So it was interesting because when I first went in, obviously I knew sort of what she was going to be going through. But when I first went in, it's almost a little bit like I was playing a different character between episode 15 and episode 16, because in episode 15, you really think that she's this like in control demon puppet master, sexy thing. And then minutes into episode 16, the second everything starts falling apart, you see all the other layers to her. And it's like I got to sort of peel back the layers of the onion as time went on. But yeah, it was kind of, it was interesting because it was this entire character arc that was compact, and yet also at the same time, a character arc that felt like it was cut short.
Yeah.
Because you just start to get a peek into the mystery of who she was. And by then she's already beheaded, so it doesn't matter. Like, you're not, that's all the information you're getting. Sorry, guys. Maybe you'll see her in a flashback later. Who knows? Wink.
Well, our episode 15, Mount Natagumo, is we're back at the resting phase of everybody healing up just fine. Zenitsu's being that creeper, going after Tanjiro and Nezuko, and kind of a random dorky thing, but if anybody's on TikTok and stuff, I thought it was really funny that our Zenitsu was doing this gesture of his little awkward, like, Nezuko-chan. I'm like, it's so weird seeing that in real life and then in an anime. I don't know if anybody else.
Well, I saw the TikTok people doing it. I'm like, as long as they know it comes from anime, I'm like, I don't know why anime followers.
I feel like it works most. It's better.
I'm like, come on now.
It doesn't relate to reality, unfortunately.
And then, as Ollie was saying, we're getting a bit more in depth on Innosuke, and he's not kind of used to this special treatment. We have the older woman being nice to him, and he's just like glowing essentially because he's not used to it. And then they get to go on to their next mission, and we definitely learn Innosuke is not socialized at all. Like the little, what do we think of the comedic beats of the woman saying the farewell and the doing the light and then freaking out? Veronica, what did you think of their farewells and Innosuke not hip with what social isms are at all?
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely tell that it's just something that he is not used to. And when we first got introduced to Innosuke, I kind of didn't know what to make of his character. I didn't know right away if he was a demon slayer. I don't know if maybe he was a demon slayer that went rogue or something like that. So he's not necessarily kind of in tune with kind of what they know, kind of their routines and their rituals. So it's definitely something different from him. I think teamwork in general is something very different for him that he needs to get used to. Oh
yeah. We get on to, okay, so this is when it first starts getting creepy. Who was like, oh my goodness. So they find the first wounded demon slayer, and he gets yanked up into the forest. Ollie, what do you think of that as kind of the basic start crumbs of this scary line?
The crumbs. I remember Bryce, when he joined us, was talking about spider creatures being demons coming up. So I was always kind of looking forward to it. I'm like, oh, here we go. Kitty! Oh my God! Forget what
Milo.
I think.
I wasn't exaggerating.
Wait,
this is Milo. Hi.
Milo. Hi, Milo. What did you think of the episode, Milo? Let us know. But it really did excite me, and it excited me seeing Milo.
Yes.
Jaimi, what do you think of this kind of start? We get some really creepy silhouettes of spiders and spider webs as we're going into this forest.
Yeah, I mean, at first, like when we saw the demon slayer who was wounded at first, I wasn't quite sure what to make of it because I thought they were being possessed. But then we find out that they're really just being controlled in a really painful way. I know we'll get into that, but I thought that was cool, but also sick and gross. But interesting. But I think that's a really unique superpower to be able to work like that from afar, which is why I thought I was like, oh, puppet, it's like puppetry with the strings, but no, it's spider webs. And I thought it was a really interesting power. And that's where I was going to ask you, Allegra, like, for your demon, what would you call them, powers? Because then, like, for instance, in My Hero Academia, we call them quirks. What would I call your superpowers? What would you call them?
Oh, there's probably an official term for it. I just think of them as like abilities. Like that's her ability.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's an official thing and someone's going to be like, whoa, hold on. Why doesn't she know her own source material here? And it's like, close enough. I don't know.
Her superpowers. Okay. Yeah. I thought it was super dope. So yeah, great scenes. Yeah. Especially, sorry, if we're going to go to Innosuke, can we just talk about his super abilities when he takes words and he feels around him, spatial awareness, something that we're all trying to practice right now.
Yeah.
6 feet. But I just thought that was incredible. So yeah, I thought that was dope.
He's very ahead of his time.
I know. Innosuke knows how to maintain social distancing. Like
and the mask.
Exactly.
Physical distancing
on
skills.
top of it.
So basically, we should all be like Innosuke in these certain times. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I would say I would go with abilities. Maybe my suggestion would have been like it's her blood demon art, but I feel that would be the next level of it. Like this feels like her just inherent skill that they all kind of have a skill, but like the next level of it, which we don't get to see, would have been her blood demon art.
Yeah. It all felt very rudimentary as far as everything goes. Like she never really broke the mold. That's not really the phrase I was looking for. Like she never really like showed.
She didn't level up.
No, she didn't, because she even says like her version of leveling up is finding the strongest possible person to do the fighting for her. So her ability is just finding other people that are stronger than her and going, you do it. Have fun.
Yes. Well, speaking of that and finding other people, we do find the other demon slayers, find out that 10 of them have already come in. They all started attacking each other. We meet Murata, that poor guy, and how he points out like, wait, what level are you guys? And we do get a little moment. So now it's new for everybody of going in and we don't know who this person is. So we get Giyu and Shinobu, who are Hashira sent in. What do we think of this mystery person who tells them to go? So Ollie, I think you had mentioned this guy before that we don't really know much about him, and he's kind of like their boss who sends them. Do you have any inklings on this person or these new demon slayers coming to the party?
I feel like you've seen them in like the opening, but I'm like, like real quick, anime openings are just so quick and fast, and you see so many characters. But I'm like, oh my gosh, we're just learning about these characters. But I'm glad like they didn't spend an episode of like explaining who they are. It's like a good teaser, planting seeds for future episodes, and then we get to explore with this new demon, and also just kind of see Innosuke and Tanjiro work together, and Zenitsu crying and stuff, but nothing there. But yeah, planted. The seeds are planted. That's for sure.
Can we also just talk about for a hot second how Zenitsu is like, I'm going to stay outside of this forest where it's safe, whereas like I'm sitting here thinking I'd rather be with someone else instead of be all alone and by myself. But
I would have turned around and left personally, but
like, where did I trace my steps? And that's the thing, like I have so much faith in Zenitsu, but he just does not believe in himself. And he quits before he even tries. So that's the only thing. I know we'll see him develop that more, but yeah.
I love when he was like, wait, Tanjiro has Nezuko.
Yep. And his poor sparrow, Chuntaro, is like, can't communicate with their person and is just so upset. Now, poor little sparrow.
One thing I did want to bring up that I found really interesting was, the ranking system that we found out this episode in Demon Slayer, because it makes me really wonder, how do certain Demon Slayers get assigned to certain cases? Like, do they, this is all just my speculation at this point of, do they kind of hear stories of a demon causing some mischief and they just kind of send whoever's closest, or do they evaluate the level of destruction to determine who to send out there? Because this demon proved to be a little too strong for a lot of these demon slayers, so it makes me really wonder, how do they evaluate who to send out to certain areas.
I would go with this one. They did not evaluate it correctly at all, because there's also multiple large demons, and I think all the demon slayers who showed up were like, we didn't know, and we weren't ready. And you're just like, oh no, that just sucks. And because we've seen glimpses of some of the other ones, which, speaking of that, we see the spider mother. Allegra, does she have a more official name? Because when I saw it was mainly just Spider Mother.
It's Spider Mother, yeah. That's it. The family, Mother Spider Demon, I think, is the exact name. And then there's the other family members are like, Father Spider Demon, et cetera, et cetera.
Because then we meet the elder brother Spider Demon who talks with her. So tell me about that. We meet this character.
The elder brother Spider Demon? No, that's, or do you mean Rui?
Just that interaction. Yeah,
the
Rui.
I mean, he's
Rui,
listed as
elder brother, but Rui, yes, we learned his name.
In episode 16, I say his name because he comes up to me and I'm like, oh no, it's Rui. And what it does in a really interesting way is it automatically flips the family dynamic, because Mother is supposed to be Mother, and you would assume that she has a position of authority, but all of a sudden Rui comes in and you realize she is terrified of him, completely terrified. And the one, oh my God, the moment that as I was watching through, because I watched it on Crunchyroll before going into the booth, and the moment where he goes, I'll tell father, and she just completely panics. That was when I was like, what is what is this family situation? Oh no. So it's like she had the specific fear of what her son would do to her and what her son would tell her husband. And it's interesting because it's like, this is some weird reversal. Why is the son have so much power in this family dynamic? Why is this the way it is? And that starts to lay the seeds of the mystery of who exactly is Rui, while also having this, wait, what is going on? Mother demon, wait, Mother, how are you? Are you okay? Like, are you okay right now? Because I'm worried about you.
Yeah, I was so nervous for her. And it was also cringy because I was like, wait a minute, you're the mom. Like, why are you scared of this little boy? And where is the father? Because we didn't really see him
initially.
Yet. Eventually. And then it's like, I know we'll get into episode 16, but there were just so many questions. But as soon as we saw that dynamic between the mother and the son, it was like, wait, who is she? And why is this way? She seemed all powerful, and now all of a sudden she's scared. And to me, it's, it's ironic that she's a spider demon, because it's almost like she's trapped in her own web within her family, and she has nowhere to go. So I just had so many questions, and that's what intrigued me more about it. So yeah, I totally agree with you on that.
It's interesting because, like I said, it's you see her at the end of episode 15, you see her kind of like, like like the first 2 lines were just chuckles, and like her just going like, you guys are trapped in my web. Like I have trapped you. And then you see in episode 16 how she's like, she's puppeting the situation, and then all of a sudden things start going wrong, and you're like, she's like frustrated by it. But then all of a sudden it's like that layer peels back, and you're like, this is motivated by fear. She is scared for her life for some reason. So like you said, what is going on? Why is she reacting the way she's reacting?
Yeah. I know we find out later in episode 16 why she's so afraid, but in this moment, did anybody else think that father was referring to Kibutsuji? Just because we kind of know that like he's the father of all demons, and all the demons are very fearful of him, because that was where my initial thought was. I thought he was referring to Kibutsuji.
For a hot second I did, but then it's like once I saw towards the end of episode 16, I was like, oh, he's father. Okay, yeah. So that's when I was like, all right, but then how does that relate to Kibutsuji? So lots of question marks there.
Ollie, did you have any thoughts on this family dynamic that starts to be introduced here at the end of 15?
Well, something that Jaimi said, kind of piggybacking off of her about demon spider. Wait, how do I say? Demon
Mother spider demon.
Spider mom.
Mother spider demon.
Spider mom. The irony is I am so arachnophobic. So it's like, you're playing a spider demon. I was like, no.
That's funny.
I was also Spider-Gwen in another video game. So I was like, why am I spiders?
Yeah. See, like, I know I'm the same way, yet I idolize Spider-Man. But something that stood out to me, what Jaimi said, how your character is trapped in her web. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so true. I love that Jaimi brought that up. Because then I'm thinking, okay, like, she's also like this supposed puppet master, but it seems like she has someone controlling her, like her, I guess, father is what I'm thinking in episode 15. He's like a puppet master, maybe to the family. And that's really kind of made me feel bad for this character, because she's doing this probably to prevent any harm from her for her own sake. So I don't want her to kill these characters by any means, but at the same time, it's the show is constantly, I always bring this up, is humanizing the demons. And it just made me want to know more about the dynamic of the family and why she's feared from not only her, not her father, but her husband and also her children. Like, why is she afraid of the entire family?
I like, Ollie, that you brought up humanizing demons in this series, because I think for many of these demons, they do start out as humans and they're unfortunately turned into demons. And I think it's just really interesting seeing the dynamics we're learning within kind of like demon society, because humans fear demons, but when you look at demon society through the eyes of these characters, they're afraid of each other, and they're obviously afraid of the person who created them.
Yes, I'm like, ooh, I like everybody's thinking.
I know.
I'm like, you know.
Especially, I know, like, since we're both, we obviously, Kari, you and I, like, know more. So I'm just sitting here like, interesting.
We'll smile and nod, yes.
Like,
So I did love this epic fight scene they start to get going where the demon slayers are attacking and Murata and Tanjiro are trying to fight, and Innosuke pulls out, as Jaimi was saying, this awesome ability, the spatial awareness, beast breathing 7th form, and is able to ping her and find her. It's kind of like, seemed like almost a sonar of sending it out and receiving the message back, which I thought was really cool. Which also, the last other bit at the very end, we get that little bit of clue. The spider boy says, because we don't know his name yet, but we learn in a minute. He says, there are 5 of us. So you're like, oh, okay, who's the rest of the family? Don't mess with my family. You're like, okay. Leads us into 16, letting someone else go first. So I also props to Murata, who tells everybody, no, you can go ahead. I'll keep fighting them. It's just basic fighting, which I was like, I don't know if I'd be excited to volunteer to stay by myself to fight. But okay. And how there's so many threads, because I don't care about spiders so much, but I'm not a fan of spider webs. So the thought of them like everywhere is just like, get it out of the way.
Well, keep in mind the way that she puts the spider webs on people are actually using really small spiders that will climb onto your skin, and then all of a sudden it's like, whoop, puppet string. So it's like, oh, this is spooky. Like, this is a nightmare for me.
Yes. And then this is also when we learned that the closer you get to her, the stronger the threads are and better control she has. And then that's where, yes, we get Rui and Father and how he tells her to hurry up and you're taking too long. Yeah. So Allegra, for you, for the acting into this, you're afraid of spiders, but you get to be this person who's so afraid. What are some maybe thoughts you had going into it of, and then also, did you do the puppet moving? Did that help you? Or, just tell me about your experience in the booth.
Only in those situations where you actually see her doing some puppeting. Usually when I'm doing any kind of attack or anything, I like to sort of gesture a little bit with it. So if I'm swinging an axe, I tend to do like a little tiny swing, which is always great if you hit the mic stand or like the music stand or anything. I have in the past. It's always that moment of terror when you hit the pop filter or something and you just look at the engineer and the engineer's like, I'm watching you. But yeah, so I was doing a little bit of it, but what rooted me into the character was just being able to very, very clearly acknowledge, like, oh, she's in an abusive household. Okay, this is an abuse situation. She is in 100% like fighting, placating, begging, everything. And it was like I said, when I was watching it, it was the moment where she started hyperventilating when begging Rui, like, don't tell father, that I was like, okay. She knows that failure here the consequence of failure aren't the demon slayers that are coming. It's coming from within her family. And it sort of changed the stakes with her because the outside threat was not actually what she was scared of at all. Everything was coming from the inside. It's almost like, I guess if you imagine her as like the first wall of defense towards the all the other demons and everything behind her. It's like she was more scared of what could meet her from behind than the armies that were coming at her from ahead. So it definitely, like, having that contextually in my mind definitely made it very easy for me to sink into that fear and that very primal place for her. Because like I said, the consequences of losing in this situation basically lead to a pain and a fear that she already knows. She already knows what will happen. So, and it's not being killed by demon slayers. That's not what she's scared of. At least not at first.
Yeah, no, that's an excellent description because that actually kind of ties back into the theme that we've been talking about, how the demons have a humanizing thing going on, thinking of it as in like it's an abusive household. It's like, oh yeah, I don't think I thought of that when I first saw it, but that absolutely fits and makes sense for sure.
Yeah.
And then speaking of abuse, we get to the next part, which was so fun and fun in rewatching this, when we get that female demon slayer who's kind of the last line of them, and how she says, I've never been this strong, and all the other ones are around and their bones are broken and they're just like, kill me. And I'm like, this show is so good because this is so disturbing that you're
my God. Yeah.
It was good. It was like, what? Like she's literally using them and breaking their limb, and she just doesn't care. You felt for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's when her movements start getting really erratic, and she's like, I've got to do this. I've got to do this. I've got to do this. And it's like, oh God, like their bodies are being mutilated in order to fight. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Especially when that character was like, he's like, my insides are like mush, and my ribs are broken. It's like, damn. like
how are they alive? Oh my God.
Yeah. And then Ollie, what did you think of when they figure out, wait, how do we stop this going on? And Tanjiro has the brilliant plan, throw them up and get them stuck in the trees so that they can't move around.
Yeah, he always has a plan, obviously. He has such a great head on him. But like, I'm like thinking, couldn't Mother Spider Demon like just yank them off or something? Like, she seems very capable. But it was a great solution. But was this before or after like she snapped their necks? I was shocked when that happened.
Right before. But talk about that moment. That was
that was the most shocking moment for these two episodes for sure. And I didn't see it coming, but also these characters, like, I'm like, yeah, they kind of have to die because she kind of mutilated them, as we were talking about.
They weren't going to walk out of this situation.
Yeah. Anyway. No, they were total cannon fodder. We get it.
Yeah. Veronica, what did you think of this major shift that their necks get snapped, and Tanjiro, how he has such a mood shift in this moment too, that even Innosuke notices it?
Yeah, well, I mean, we've talked about this too, where Tanjiro is a very empathetic person, whether it's human or demon. And this was very brutal. This was a very brutal way to die, in that she was, the mother demon was toying with them, probably for like sick pleasure, and then, breaking all their bones. And then finally, she killed them by snapping their necks. It's just a very brutal way to die, to have to go through all of that and then have your neck snapped, and that's kind of how you die. So it's very brutal. And for Tanjiro, obviously that would create a shift in him, because he wants to stop he just wants to stop it.
Yeah. Allegra, how was it for you watching, and this moment comes that that this is what your character's capable of?
Yeah, it's interesting because it came from a place of like impatience of like, this isn't working. And it probably from the outside looks a lot more cruel than it is. Like, it's very easy, I think, for Tanjiro and Innosuke to be like, oh, she was done with them and she just broke their necks like they were nothing. When in reality, she's like, this isn't working, this isn't working, this isn't working. And the more anxious you get, the more destructive you can get. And for her, she was just like, I gotta take these eggs out of this basket. I gotta move on to this. Like nothing is working. I can't do this. I can't do this. So it's, yeah, like I said, it's like an anxiety thing. Like the more anxious and scared you get, the more destructive you can be. And the more you're like, I've got to railroad everything around me and figure out what it is I need to do.
Yeah. So. Which leads to the next crazy moment. Jaimi, what did you think of this giant monster with no head? And it's like how they fight it.
Well, she's like pulling out all the stops. So it's like, this is her last resort. I thought it was interesting that it was headless. But I called it like the buff headless demon. That's what I I was like, buff headless demon comes to save the day and fails epically. I also just have to say Tanjiro, like with his epic wave style sword techniques, everyone notices this, from Spider-Mom to Innosuke, who finally is like taking his pride aside and realizing that his colleague is really good. He's giving him props. Yeah. They make a great team when they're not competing. But yeah, I mean, I think it just sucked because once I saw that this buff headless demon was defeated, I felt so bad for your character, Allegra, because I'm like, what's about to happen? Because we saw what happened with Homegirl with the balls of steel in episodes, I think it was like 5 and 6, and a hand coming out of her throat. So, you know, it's like you have this apprehension, like what's going to happen. But I just feel like these 2 episodes were so incredible. So many events happened, and you went through so many emotions up and down because you were literally scared about what's going to happen to Spider-Mom. So I'm sticking with Spider-Mom. I like that.
Yeah, Spider-Mom. Spider-Mom.
Just to kind of, just to kind of piggyback off of what Jaimi was saying. So 2 things. Yeah, when they introduced this, her like big weapon of the headless demon, I thought to myself, oh my gosh, like that's gonna be very difficult, because she's essentially presenting them with an undefeatable opponent, because to kill a demon you have to behead it, but its head is already gone. So in my mind, I'm like, how are they gonna accomplish this? And then kind of what Jaimi was saying about Inosuke's pride, I really liked the theme of pride kind of throughout these episodes with him, because to me there was like 2 types of pride. There's pride in the sense that you're proud of yourself and what you can accomplish, and then there's also pride in that you just want to be the best and you're just very competitive, and that you don't care about, you know, who gets in your way, you know, who's in your way kind of thing. And I feel like Innosuke, that's a big thing for Innosuke, because he wants to be strong. He wants to be the best. Like everything Tanjiro was telling him, he was like, I already figured it out. You don't need to tell me. So I feel like, you know, he wants to be the best and he wants to be strong, but I feel like this episode showed a lot of his character arc is going to be to find pride in himself instead of finding worth in himself based on other people.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, because they get their great teamwork together, which was so cool. I love the like jump off of me, and Tanjiro even does the headstand slice and goes to the Spider Mother, and I love that. It was almost beautiful. So she gives up and puts her hands out like, please. Ollie, what did you think of this shift for Tanjiro of like even mid swing, he's like, oh, I can't kill her that way.
It was beautiful. Like it was very bittersweet, because obviously it's the end of this character, but also it was like bitter. It was like a release for her character, because she no longer has to feel pain. And she also got a really nice haircut. You know, she looked great.
Yeah. She got a cute little bob. It was great.
Right.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. And also Tanjiro, before that, he got a hug. It was like a hug from Innosuke. So I was like, oh, so much love in this, you know. But I don't want to jump ahead to like the flashback of her getting like beaten by the father, but because we're going to talk about that. But yeah, it made me relieved for her, the demon, that she's finally has some peace despite her being killed. But like it's like that's all she wanted was peace. But it had to be through to her death.
It's it was like I said, in terms of like the threat coming from ahead versus the threat coming from behind. It was like, she knows she could get out of the situation. She could escape from Tanjiro, but like what's waiting behind her is worse.
Right.
Whatever's going to happen to her if she gets away from the situation is way worse than what's going to happen to her if she just stays and holds her ground. And tying back into that she's an abuse victim aspect, her giving up is like, death is literally going to free me from what I know is a life I can't escape from. And God, that shot where you just see her arms out and the water passing through in this sort of like really gentle arc as he goes past her, so beautifully animated. It like made me tear up watching it. It was like, you know, it was freeing for her, and the move itself was painless for her to experience. And it was like the first time she's not felt pain and fear in a very long time while facing something that should be the ultimate fear. It was finally something she could stand her ground and not be scared of. God, it was so like, I don't even have the word for it. It was like such an emotional process to go through that moment.
And then she's even better because then she tells him about
Yep.
how there's one of the 12 around.
Yep. It's just like, you thought this was going to be a simple expedition. It's nope. We got one of the big boys here. Be careful. Yeah. And it was like this act of kindness to repay the act of kindness that he gave her, not only in a painless death, but in freeing her. Yeah. She's like, I can do something for you, which is warn you exactly what it is you're facing. Like,
and Jaimi, you were going to say?
Oh. Well, I was just going to say it was a beautiful scene because, first of all, the name, Blessed Rain After the Drought. I was like, woo, I feel the spirit just after that boom. I was like, slay me. Like, I think it's so beautiful, you know, and those kids notice the beauty. Everyone's noticing the beauty of Tanjiro and like all of his forms, but just even hearing the sound effects of the calming rain. And then even Allegra, when your character is saying, you know, I never thought that it would be this tranquil, another vocabulary word. I was like, I forgot how much I love that word. Yeah. So now I'm like going to start using that more in my everyday vocabulary, but it was just a beautiful scene. The light at the end, because I thought at first I was like, Tanjiro, you're still going to like chop her head off like that? But he said, I'm going to let her off easy. And he did. Yeah. I enjoyed it. Every awful moment was great.
It when we did that sequence, I'm a kind of a stickler where if I can do a bunch of lines in a run, I want to do it. So that entire, from the moment where she just breathes and she's just like, what? Like right after her head gets cut off, right up until the flashback was one just monologue for me where I just kept going and I did the entire thing in one go. Because I wanted to have the discovery and the journey with her. And likewise, after the flashback, we did all of that in one go, just to kind of have her reach that realization and acceptance. Because ultimately it was about acceptance and peace at the end. With that horrible mood breaker in the middle of her screaming and getting her hair. Actually, that was the thing. I almost forgot about this. The fact that her hair got cut off when in the flashback, you see father holding her up by her hair, and that got cut off when her head was cut off, was almost like freeing her from something that he used.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was super appropriate that in all of that, you just see, again, the beauty of the hair just kind of like falling apart like that and just like separating from the rest of it, but also knowing like, oh yeah, that's got an extra layer of symbolism to it. It was, oh God, I cried. I cried just a little.
Really? Any other final thoughts on these episodes before we do kind of news special segment and then our predictions? Veronica, any other final thoughts?
Great, just a great pair of episodes. You know, once again, I really like learning about the dynamics of these demons, and I really want to know how Tanjiro and the gang are going to approach one of these 12, was it Kizukis? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm afraid of father too now. I'm scared.
Jaimi?
Look, I'm just excited for the next episodes. Again, I want to find out more about our current demon slayers and everything, but I will say, since last episode where we reviewed it, I wasn't expecting these 2 episodes, but this was a pleasant surprise that came with a lot of, awful surprises, but so I think I was taken by surprise, and that's a good thing. So I'm just going to remain open-minded.
Nice. All right.
So my piece of advice going into the next couple of episodes is that we're seeing literally what a really messed up family dynamic looks like. So think about that, the meaning of family in this instance, especially when you know that Tanjiro is so loyal to his sister and vice versa. So think about it. We're asking the question of what kind of mother is that terrified of her son, especially when everyone's a demon. So like this should be equal. You'd think she's stronger than him. You'd think that, well, you'd think father wouldn't be the worst, but so how does this family compare to our protagonist family? What does this mean? Just keep that in mind moving forward.
Yes. All right, we're gonna hold on to predictions. So now we're gonna do a special news/special segment. If many of you have been on the internet recently, which you probably have been, there has been a lot of stuff going on in the voice acting community of people of color. Do they voice a character of color or not? Should they step away from the role? This is big with news with The Simpsons, who said they will no longer cast white actors as people of color characters, though they've had issues with that in the past with Apu, which has been brought up a long time ago. We got Big Mouth as well as Cleveland. So if anybody wants to jump in first on their thoughts on this and how also the voice acting community, specifically we also see anime because we're all watch anime, how they've been responding on Twitter as well. Open it up.
I have so many thoughts, honestly, because I had a feeling that we might talk about this. Honestly, I was kind of nervous being that I am Black, and that some of the characters that people were talking about are Black characters. All I'll say is I know that, for instance, like with Family Guy, the voice actor, he's been doing Cleveland for almost 20 years. For me, I wonder if he felt guilty when he first got the role and if he just kind of brushed it off. And for people that are saying, well, if it's a voice actor, it's all about the voice, I totally get that. I think if you are a great white voice actor, you should be able to, voice certain characters. But the truth is, I don't see a lot of Black specific animated characters. We don't get a lot. I, as a Black person, cannot name a lot of them. I can name more non-Black or more animal, animated characters than I can Black people. And then, especially with anime, when I did see them as a young Black girl who was really into anime, seeing some of the Black characters on DBZ, can I just tell you how offended I was at like 8? And just knowing like, oh, wow, that's what they think we look like. Or when we would get a Black character, I can only name a few for anime. Zoroichi on Bleach, she's voiced by a white character. That does not mean that Wendy Lee is an awful voice actor. I'm sure she's great. But I would have loved that to go to a Black person just because we don't get a lot of them. And then I've even seen a Black people where they just say, well, what's the point? This is all about systemic racism and police brutality. And I don't want the world to think that Black people complain about everything and when's it going to be enough for them. I feel like they're just going to make it as an excuse as if we complain about everything, and that's not the truth. But last but not, just to kind of wrap it up, Cree Summer, most people know her. She was number 5 on Codename Cazador, Susie Carmichael and Rugrats. She's been a lot of Black characters and non-Black characters, but she chooses to do a lot of the Black characters to be a representation for us. I would just love to see more Black voice actors, period. And it doesn't mean that we all need to do specific race characters. And if that's the case, please create more Black characters. There are other studios that are Black owned and, animators who are trying to do their own thing and create their own thing. But I think that this whole discussion is just to create space and to not ignore the things. Apu on Simpsons, that should have never happened. Not because he's not, Hank Azaria, he's legend. But I think it's what makes it worse is the accent that he puts on. If he is not of that culture or ethnicity, that's what makes it offensive. Not just the skin tone of the character. That's all I have to say about it. Please, have your own opinions about it. But I think that for the people that step down, if you've done it for years already, kind of like, what's the point? But if there is someone who can also voice match, because their voice actors do it all the time, and they also happen to be a person of color, let's see how that works. Especially if they're okay with stepping down. They made their money. If they're okay with that, then who am I to to be mad at it either. Sorry for my rant.
No,
it's
No.
great.
Speaking,
Very well said.
yeah. Speaking as an insider in the industry, I know that as a member of the industry, what I can say is that a lot of it comes down to, if a casting spec says, this character is Black, then it is up to us as white actors to go, okay, cool. Not for me then. I'm going to pass on this audition because this is an opportunity that should go to a Black actor. Because I think down the line, it would be wonderful to have a truly, people talk about colorblind casting in theater and whatnot. I think at a point, the ideal is to get to a point where it is colorblind casting, but that is not where we are right now, even remotely. So in the meantime, what we white actors should be doing is making sure that Black actors have the space to play the few Black characters that they are. But then the onus is also on casting people to look at Black actors and say, you can play white characters. You get these opportunities too. You don't just have to play Black characters. And I am a member of a group. I know there's been a lot of conversations over the past year or so of Black actors getting together and trying to break down a lot of those casting processes. So there is a lot of forward momentum in that regard. And I'm happy that we're talking about it, even though I think in this exact moment, it's like, cool. I mean, police brutality is still the main issue here, but I'm glad that at least people are beginning to acknowledge that this has been an issue this entire time. And that maybe what they were doing was denying opportunities for Black actors to play Black characters, because like you said, there are so few Black characters in anime and animation and everything, that why aren't we giving all the phenomenal Black actors out there the opportunity to perform and do their job? Because they should.
They just don't sound the same. Like they have this idea of how Black people sound, and because of how we look, and maybe they don't know, well, not all of them, but maybe some directors don't know a lot of Black people, or they don't converse with a lot of us, so they don't really exactly know how each of us is individually. So that's something that's a learning process. I'm also a voice actor trying to make my way through, and that has always been in the back of my head, like, oh my gosh, what if they don't give me a role because they feel like I should only do Black characters, So I think about all those things too.
Yeah. I think another thing that will ultimately change and improve things for the better is not just having more Black actors, but having more Black people on the other side of things, and more Black casting people specifically, and more Black writers. Like, just have the entertainment industry be more diverse, have a lot of like Black actors, Asian people, like all across the board, creating diverse spaces so that we can see diversity in casts in and of itself and have it be authentic and natural. So,
Yes. Ollie, do you have any final thoughts on that real quick before we wrap up?
No, I agree with everything that's been said. And I am excited that there are people that step down, like Jenny Slate, for example, because then that's an ample opportunity for a Black voice actor to voice that character. I'm not familiar with Big Mouth, but I didn't even know that she was playing a Black character. So it's exciting that, I feel like it's with good intentions. It's like, it just makes more room for people of color to be able to be casted, if anything. But yes, police brutality is kind of like our main issue right now, so I don't want to take up too much time because I know we have to wrap.
This is definitely not
Veronica's gone. She's gone. I don't know where she went.
Yeah, I think we have some tech. We lost Veronica via tech issues here. But yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay. Honestly, that happened to me during a live stream too one time. And I was like, what happened to my face?
Wait,
unfortunately, we are at the end of time.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
There you are. So unfortunately, we're at the end of time. Wait, Veronica, did you want to say something real quick? Or I was like, wait.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that everything that Jaimi, Allegra, Ollie, I thought everything you guys said was very true, very beautiful, very well said. Just to kind of wrap it up, I think that what is going on right now is a discussion to kind of just create equal opportunity for actors, and to create more diverse spaces.
Nice. Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody who commented on this. There's plenty of more talking that we could be doing about this. Please comment down below. Find us online, which we'll go around real quick where we can find everybody. Veronica, where can people find you online?
Hey, everybody. You can find me, Veronica Valencia, on Twitter and Instagram. It's me, Veronica_V.
Ollie, where can people find you online?
Hey guys, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Ollie Dreamer.
Jaimi, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at It's Jaimi Gray, or better yet, on Instagram at Jaimi Gray, but you got to spell it right. It's Jaimigray.
My name is Kari Lane. You can find me online at Kari D Lane. That's Karidlane. Make sure to follow us on ABTV Anime. We post a lot of press releases, manga announcements, anime news, all kinds of stuff like that. Again, that's ABTV Anime. Huge thank you, Allegra Clark, for joining us. Thank you so much. So fun talking.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank
Where
you for
can
having
people
me.
find you online?
Really easy on Twitter and Instagram as at Simply Allegra. So simply is in the word and then Allegra with 2 L's, please.
Sweet.
So yeah, because it's the Italian one.
Nice. So continue the discussion with us online and as well as comments down below. And we'll see you all next week. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.